Danielle here again. Um, August 2015 is a hard month, and so something that I want to touch on today was the power of inviting. And so this is something I've talked about before, but I wanted to give you a little bit different insight because we all know that when you're planting the seeds now, it's going to pay off maybe a couple weeks, a few months. People are going to start watching what you're doing. So it's really important to learn the inviting process and learn how to perfect it. So when you think of yourself, you have to think of others and how they're going to perceive you. And even if you're a new coach or just starting out, you have to remember that when you're reaching out to people, you're trying to break down their walls, engage them, get to know them a little bit more. You're going to be educating them and building the value of what you ultimately have to offer from yourself, right? And so that takes time and effort, and it takes effort on your part a lot. So you need to kind of remember that when you go out and invite, right? So you want to create that relationship over time because people are often fearful of what they don't know, right? So they might be following your posts and seeing what you're doing, but they don't really know what you're doing unless you're sharing that. So sometimes we kind of forget that. So let's talk about inviting, right? As a professional and a CEO of your own business, you probably starting out don't know everything. So the biggest thing I can tell you is to act as a sponge always. You want to be endlessly learning more from mentors, from people on your team, from top coaches. You want to immerse yourself in this business and be the professional that you seek out. So you want to be that leader that you want to attract. So if you don't know something, you should not rely on your upline to tell you. You should be going and researching and figuring out the answer. And that's not to say that you can't ask your team, but be the leader, be the professional. Take a step outside your comfort zone and say, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I'm the student. I'm here to learn. And you should always be acting that way because there's always new ways to try things and mix it up and see what works best. So if nothing else, forever be a student. And I know sometimes that's hard, but if you got it down, like, you're not going to grow, right? So you want to just always be trying new things. If you're not seeing the success that you want to see, you're probably either not being consistent, and so you really need to give it more time and commit to never giving up. Because so many people drop out because there's not this instant gratification. They may not come in guns blazing and hit diamond in 2 weeks, right? And then we feel like defeated. Like we're doing all of this work and nothing's coming through. You're getting like $40 commission off of one challenge pack sale. And that's hard when you're spending 10, 20, 30 hours a week on it, depending on who you are. And so the idea that I love that my coach brought up when I first started is that you are going in and putting in a well in the middle of a desert. And you are going to pump that well, pump that well, pump that well. Nothing's going to come out. Maybe eventually a few little drops here and there are going to sprinkle along the way. Other people around you are going to give up. They're going to say, this isn't worth it. I'm seeing nothing out of it. And you're going to keep pumping and pumping. And slowly there'll be a stream of water flowing through, and you can start to see the glimpse and glimmer of what you're getting yourself into. And then a year later, it's just coming and coming, and you're filling up the pots, and finally you're seeing this flow and this groove of something that's consistent and working. But that comes from pumping the well every single day, no matter what. Okay, so that's the biggest thing I can tell you. So, back to inviting. You really want to find a way to create some type of hype and reach more people. So that starts with having engaging posts on social media and focusing in on what works for you and your audience. You want to go on your page and see which posts get the most likes, the most engagements, and why. What was it about that post that really got people to want to know more? Was it an awesome, eye-catching photo? Was it pouring out your heart and being vulnerable? Was it before and after pictures? Was it a question and people kept coming back and forth? And you want to look at those posts and use those as your hooks. And so you have to remember that only 5 to 10% of your friends are going to see your posts until you get that bigger engagement, right? So you can take those images and try to duplicate it in some fashion moving forward. Now that you're a coach, you have to treat your Facebook differently than you were just a regular user. You have a platform and a voice to share with others, and that's directly reflected on everything you share on your page. So if you're sharing every single weekend that you're going out to the bars and having 5 to 6 beers, like that's probably not offering value to anybody that's following you. And while those are great, and you should definitely share your real life, I don't want to see 10 pictures of you like chugging beers. That doesn't really help me, and it doesn't give me trust in you that I can follow what you're doing and find success. So think about that when you're doing like time hop is another thing that a lot of people are into right now. And those are great, but post a throwback Thursday of your own photo that you found that's old and make it part of your story, like how you've shifted and become someone new, and this experience has helped you X, Y, and Z. I think that that's hard for some coaches that are new to realize that you don't want to just take the easy way out. Everything that you post has to be intentional, and there has to be a reason behind it. And that doesn't mean that they're all super big and important and vulnerable, but you got to have those little jabs of value in there so that when you bring in the big hook, it's going to grab people's attention. And so inviting comes back to what you're posting, and this all kind of connects. So you really want to inspire, engage, think, and survey through your posts. And this is going to be, gaining that positive person that you want to have as maybe your future coach and keep them coming back for more on what you're doing. Another thing you could do is Facebook events for different challenges you have coming up, or clean eating groups, and asking people to tag their friend if they want to join in. So like they have to bring a friend with them. And that's a great way to start inviting. I haven't done it yet, but I've seen a lot of other coaches do it. You just want to do it in a way that it's not spamming your friends and they think that you're just like trying to sell them on something. Like you really just want to be giving value and giving tidbits along the way to show your worth. So along with that, when you are giving your big hook posts for challenge group invites or coaching opportunity calls, anything big like that, you want to give them a reason to act now. You want to put a time constraint on it, and you want to maybe give some incentive, like there's some special prize you're going to have, or you're giving this big recipe out that's super good. You want to give people a reason to want to hop in. I will say anything with chocolate Shakeology recipes that you can come up with that are like cookies or pies or whatever, and show that, people are going to be dying to know. So let's talk about when and how to ask when you are inviting through messaging. That's kind of shifting from your post and your Facebook and how you do it that way to your actual messaging. So you want to position yourself as a fitness and nutrition consultant. So you're not an expert. You don't know everything, right? We're always students, and we're always learning. And you want to use the opportunity to ask a lot of questions. Because if you're going to be a consultant, you have to know the background of that person in order to give them information moving forward. You want to get down to their problems, their issues, their goals, where they're struggling, and asking as many questions as you can, because you're getting to know this person's life, their habits, where they've fallen off short before, so that you can hopefully avoid that going through this process. Get to the point where you can say, you know what, given what you've told me, have you ever considered doing X, Y, and Z? It can be simple as that, right? We build up this invite as like this big, huge, terrifying thing. And sometimes it's okay to lead with your fear and just say, you know what, I was really scared of this process along the way, but I just found such great results. Like, I have to share it with you, and I really felt compelled to bring it to our conversation because you've shared with me your struggles. That's okay to say. You can be honest and genuine and make it your own. I think that's the biggest thing, that people think they have to copy paste exactly what their coach says. And that's so not true. Like, find your way and find your niche and what they like to hear. And that will come with time. Um, don't give more information than what is asked for. And also don't be afraid to deflect the questions that they are asking. Because if you're doing more talking than listening, guess who's controlling the conversation? Not you, right? But you're the consultant, so you need to be asking the questions and controlling the conversation. So it's okay to deflect. Okay, how much does it cost? Well, if they're asking how much it costs, you need to go right back around and remember that you haven't gotten to the value of what they need and provided the value that they're asking for. So that means you need to ask more questions. And my coaches always ask me that, like, but they ask me that and I'm ignoring it. No, you're deflecting the question and getting to the root of the problem. Because if they're asking the price right off the bat, there's an excuse in there as to why they want to say no. So once you kind of get through that, don't be afraid to follow up because that is where the magic happens. Some people they have to think about it and then they make excuses in their head. We all know, we've been there, you've done it. But it's okay to ask, like, oh, hey, I was thinking of you. How's the gym going for you? Like, are you seeing the results that you're looking for? Or, by the way, I have this group coming up and I was thinking of you. Would you be interested or do you know anyone that would be? So most likely, whatever people are doing on their own, they're not really successful because we all know the magic of what happens in what we do is number one, having you as a coach. That is like golden. And number two, having the support of a challenge group, of a group of people that's doing something together to achieve similar goals. You can't replace that in anything else that's out on the market, right? So it's okay to ask, like, oh, I was thinking of you and I saw you posted you were at the gym. Like, how's that going? How's that working for you? Most likely you'll get to it and people aren't seeing the results. And that's where you insert the invite again. So hopefully these tidbits can be helpful. Be intentional with when you place your invites on your posts. Sunday, Monday nights are awesome times after a dreadful weekend and people are feeling bad about themselves. And be consistent and intentional with what you're doing and all of your actions. And I promise over time, it'll be like swinging the bat. It'll be like brushing your teeth. So keep inviting, and I hope you guys have a great day.